A field of open sky. A guided journey for drifting minds. You are walking. Not toward anything in particular. Not away from anything either. Simply walking, the way the body sometimes knows to do before the mind has caught up with the reason. Your feet find the path without being told, parting the tall grass ahead of you in slow, unhurried steps, and the grass closes softly behind you as though the field is gently forgetting you were ever anywhere else. It is spring. You know this the way you know things in dreams, not from a single detail but from everything at once. The quality of the light, which is warm but not yet heavy, still carrying in it the memory of winter's pale restraint. The sky, which is the particular blue that only exists in spring, deeper than winter's white, softer than summer's hard bright bowl, a blue that seems to have been poured slowly and deliberately over everything, still settling. And the air. Above all, the air. Breathe it in now. It comes to you in layers. First, the green of it, the alive, almost electric smell of new grass, of things pushing upward through dark earth toward the light with a determination so quiet and so absolute it registers somewhere below thought. Beneath that, something sweeter, wildflowers, not yet in full bloom, just beginning to open at their edges, releasing the first tentative notes of their fragrance like a song not yet sure of itself. And beneath even that, carried on the breeze from somewhere further off, the smell of rain that fell 2 nights ago and has been slowly becoming earth ever since. That deep mineral richness that has no name in any language, only a feeling which is home. You let the breath out slowly. The grass is tall here, hip height in places, brushing your fingertips as you walk with your arms held slightly out at your sides, the way children do, the way anyone does when they remember that their hands are allowed to feel things. The blades are cool and smooth on one side, slightly rough on the other, and they bend willingly as your fingers trail through them, springing back behind you with a soft whispering sound that layers itself beneath the breeze. Some of them leave the faintest trace of green on your skin, that thin, living residue that smells sharp and good when you bring your fingers briefly to your face. You do this without thinking. The breeze moves through the field around you in long rolling waves. You can see it coming before it reaches you, a darkening of the grass in the middle distance, a collective leaning of 1,000 blades in one direction, as though the field is making a slow and graceful bow. And then it arrives, cool and unhurried against your face, lifting the hair from your forehead, carrying with it a sound that is not quite music and not quite silence but something that lives between the two. The sound of wind in tall grass is one of the oldest sounds there is. Something in you recognizes it from further back than memory. You close your eyes for a few steps, trusting your feet. The ground beneath you is soft. Not soft the way mud is soft, but the yielding softness of earth that has been rained on and rested and is now thoroughly, contentedly itself. Each step has a slight give to it, a gentle compression, as though the ground is meeting you halfway. The grass roots beneath your feet hold everything together without effort, the way good things often do, invisibly, quietly, as a matter of course. A bird calls somewhere to your left. You don't turn to look. The call hangs in the air, 3 notes rising, with a pause between the second and third that feels almost intentional, almost like punctuation. Then it comes again from a slightly different place, as though the bird has moved between utterances, or perhaps there are two of them, conversing in a language made entirely of patience. You listen until the calls fade into the general voice of the field, and you can no longer be certain whether you are still hearing them or only remembering them. The grass begins to thin. Gradually at first, patches of shorter growth between the tall blades, glimpses of darker earth, the occasional flat stone warmed through by the morning sun. Then more quickly, the tall grass stepping back on either side of you like a corridor opening, like a held breath releasing, until you step through the last of it and stop. And there it is. The field of flowers opens before you like something that has been waiting. Not impatiently, flowers are never impatient, but with the particular readiness of something that has been quietly becoming more itself for weeks and has only now arrived at its fullness. They stretch ahead of you and to either side further than you need to see. Poppies the color of a sun you looked at too long, their petals tissue-thin and trembling at the edges. Cornflowers in a blue so concentrated it seems borrowed from the sky directly above. White flowers whose names you don't know and don't need to, their faces turned upward with an openness that is almost difficult to look at directly. And scattered through all of it, tall grasses gone to seed, swaying above the blooms like the masts of very small, very contented ships. The smell reaches you a moment after the sight. It is nothing like a perfume, nothing so singular or so insistent. It is a conversation of fragrances, each one distinct and all of them together becoming something that has no name, only an effect, which is a loosening somewhere behind the sternum, a slow unlocking of something that has been held without your noticing. You breathe it in and feel yourself very slightly become less dense. You walk into the field slowly. The flowers brush your legs as you move through them, a different texture entirely from the grass. Softer, more deliberate somehow, as though each stem is leaning very slightly toward you as you pass. The petals of the poppies are cool and impossibly delicate against the backs of your hands, and you move carefully, not from anxiety but from a natural reverence that the field seems to ask for and that you find you are glad to give. You find a place, without looking for it. A slight depression in the ground. Not a hollow, just a gentling, where the earth dips a few inches and the flowers grow a little taller on all sides, and the wind when it passes, seems to curl around the space rather than through it. You stand in it for a moment, feeling its particular quietness, and then, slowly in stages, the way the light has been changing all morning, you lower yourself to the ground. First your knees, into the soft earth. Then your hands, finding purchase among the stems, careful and slow. And then the rest of you, lengthening out, settling back, until you are lying in the field of flowers beneath the wide spring sky with the earth beneath you and everything else above, and the flowers stand all around you at their full height, and you are, for this moment, invisible to the world and entirely held by it. You look up. The sky is so blue. Not a threatening blue, not an overwhelming blue, a generous blue, the kind that makes room for everything within it. And across it, in long unhurried processions, the clouds are moving. They are the high, soft kind, not the heavy architecture of storm clouds, but thin and luminous, their edges lit from within by the light they are made of, drifting with a slowness that makes the sky itself seem to breathe. You watch them without trying to. The first one that holds your attention is long and trailing. A shape that almost immediately becomes a whale, a vast and gentle whale, its tail fin dissolving and reforming as it moves, its great rounded back catching the light along its upper edge. It crosses the sky slowly, majestically, entirely unbothered by the distance it has to travel, and then its leading edge begins to thin and feather and the whale becomes something else. A coastline, perhaps, or a range of hills seen from very far above, and then even that softens and spreads and joins the general brightness of the sky and is gone. Another takes its place. This one is rounder, more compact, a bear sitting upright, or a figure in a heavy coat, its edges crisp and then immediately not, the way certainty rarely lasts but is worth noting when it arrives. You watch it travel a little way and then shift. The coat becomes wings, broad and arched, and for a moment you are looking at something that might be an eagle mid-flight, caught at the exact instant of full extension, before it too dissolves into the blue and is replaced by a long thin wisp that trails across the sky like a sentence that forgot what it was trying to say and became more beautiful for it. A butterfly crosses your field of vision. It passes between you and the clouds, small, closer, more immediate, its wings the color of late afternoon despite the fact that it is still morning, amber and black and moving with that particular butterfly rhythm that is nothing like flying and everything like it, a bobbing, dipping, entirely unhurried negotiation with the air. It lands on a cornflower to your left, closes its wings once, opens them again as though reconsidering, and then lifts off and continues on its way, shrinking to a point and then disappearing into the flowers. You watch the place where it was for a moment after it has gone. Above you, two swallows cut across the sky in long swooping arcs, moving so quickly and so fluidly that they seem less like birds and more like the sky's own thoughts. Fast, curved, there and then somewhere else entirely, leaving no trace except the faint impression of movement, of life moving through air at the exact speed that feels like joy. They circle once, twice, and are gone over the tree line at the field's far edge, and the sky settles back into its blue composure as though they were never there. The breeze moves through the flowers around you. You feel it first on your face, that cool, gentle pressure, and then you hear it in the stems around you, a soft collective rustling, the whole field shifting a few degrees together and then returning, like breathing. The petals of the poppies nearest to you tremble at the edges. A dandelion clock, somewhere to your right, loses a few of its seeds to the passing air. You catch a glimpse of them rising, each one its own small parachute, lifted and carried with an easiness that makes rising look like the most natural thing in the world. Perhaps it is. The earth beneath you is warm now, or you are warm, and the earth is matching you, or you are matching the earth. It is impossible to say. The distinction has been quietly dissolving since you lay down, the boundary between your weight and the ground's patience becoming less and less a boundary and more a conversation, a long wordless exchange of warmth and pressure and the simple fact of being in one place and finding it sufficient. Your eyes are soft. Not closed, not yet, but soft, the way eyes go when the thing they are looking at is too large and too blue and too gently moving to be taken in all at once, and so instead of looking at any one part of it, you simply receive it. The clouds drift. The light shifts in increments too small to name. Somewhere in the flowers, a bee moves from bloom to bloom with a low and constant hum that is less a sound than a frequency, a vibration that you feel in your chest more than you hear with your ears. You breathe in flowers and earth and the faint green of the grass beyond the field's edge and the particular cleanness of spring air that has been nowhere yet, that has not yet been breathed by summer or weighted by heat, that is still new and still cool and still faintly astonished to exist at all. You breathe out, and the field receives it. You are not asleep. Not yet. But you are in that country that exists just before it, that soft, borderless territory where the body has already decided and the mind is only now receiving the news. Your limbs have grown heavy in the most welcome way, the way things grow heavy when they are finally fully at rest, not burdened but settled, rooted, as though the earth beneath you has been slowly, gently claiming you back, and you have been, without quite noticing, letting it. The clouds continue their procession above you. You watch them with a looseness now, not looking so much as receiving, your gaze open and unfocused, the blue of the sky filling your vision the way water fills a vessel, completely and without effort. A long cloud passes, wide and layered, its underside flat, its upper surface billowing in slow motion into shapes that almost resolve and then don't, that gesture toward meaning the way half-remembered dreams do when you reach for them in the first moments of morning. A mountain range, perhaps. A sleeping giant. A shore. It doesn't matter. The not mattering is its own kind of sweetness. There is a contentment moving through you now that is different from happiness, quieter than joy, something more fundamental than either, something that lives beneath the feelings and makes them possible. It is the contentment of a body exactly where it should be, of a morning that has asked nothing of you and given you everything. Of a field that was here before you arrived and will be here long after and has received you in the meantime, without question or condition. You feel, lying here, genuinely held. A bumblebee drifts into view above you, close enough that you can see the slight blur of its wings, the improbable roundness of its body, the way it moves through the air with a cheerful disregard for efficiency, pausing here, reconsidering, floating sideways in a way that seems to delight it. It hovers briefly over a poppy just beside your shoulder. You can hear the pitch of its hum change as it descends, deepening slightly, becoming more purposeful, and then it is inside the flower and then it is gone, and the hum fades back into the general warmth of the morning. You smile, or something in you does. It requires no effort. It arrives the way the breeze arrives, not summoned, simply there, a natural consequence of everything that is happening and everything that is not happening and the particular grace of the space between. Your breathing has slowed. You notice this the way you notice things in this country, from a slight distance, with a gentle curiosity that has no urgency in it. In the flowers, the sky, the warmth of the sun on your face, which is not hot but is present in the way that good things are present, consistently, without demanding acknowledgement. Out. The bee somewhere further off now. The soft percussion of the field in the breeze. The feeling of your own weight, which has become extraordinary, heavy and light at once, substantial and somehow also dissolved, as though the boundary of your body has grown porous and the warmth of the air and the warmth of you have begun to exchange themselves freely. The clouds are slower now. Or you are slower. Or slowness itself has become the medium through which everything moves, the way water is the medium through which fish move, invisibly, completely, as a matter of simple fact. A cloud shaped like an open hand drifts across the blue, its fingers trailing, its palm turned upward in an offer or a surrender, and you watch it travel the full width of your vision before it reaches the edge of the sky you can see and moves beyond it, into the blue you cannot, carrying whatever it was with it. You let it go easily. Letting go has become easy here. The thoughts that were with you this morning, the small persistent ones, the ones that tap at the edges of quiet moments asking to be attended to, they have not disappeared exactly, but they have moved to a different distance, like sounds heard from another room, present but not pressing, real but not requiring anything of you right now. Right now, there is only this. The field. The sky. The warmth. The slow turn of the world beneath you, which you can almost feel, that vast, unhurried rotation, the earth going about its ancient business with a patience that makes everything else feel briefly and beautifully small. You are small here. Wonderfully, restfully small. Cradled in a field of flowers on a spinning world beneath an infinite sky, one warm and breathing thing among countless others, no more or less necessary than the bee or the swallow or the clouds or the grass. There is a freedom in this smallness that you had forgotten was available. A loosening of something you didn't know you were holding. The field has always known this about itself, that it is a place where things can put down what they've been carrying. The flowers know. The earth knows. And now, slowly, gratefully, you are beginning to know it too. A butterfly lands on your hand. You feel it before you see it. The lightest possible pressure barely there, like the memory of a touch rather than a touch itself. You turn your head, slowly, without startling, and there it is. A small painted lady, wings folded upright, the intricate pattern of them close enough now to see in detail, the orange and the black and the small white constellations near the wingtips. It stays perfectly still for a moment, and you stay perfectly still, and between you there is a stillness that feels like agreement, like mutual recognition of something neither of you could name. Then it opens its wings once, slowly like a breath, and lifts away. You watch it go until it becomes a small moving point of color among the flowers, and then stops being distinguishable from the light. Your eyes are heavier now. Not painfully heavy, pleasantly, irresistibly heavy, the way they get when the body has finally, fully convinced the mind that there is nothing left that needs watching, nothing left that needs attending to, that everything is as it should be and will continue to be, and that the most useful and beautiful thing you can do right now is to let them close. You let them close. Not all the way, not quite yet. Just enough that the sky becomes a warm brightness rather than a specific blue, a glow rather than a color, the clouds moving through it as suggestions, as impressions, as the faint luminous shapes that begin to populate the space between waking and sleep, that take on lives of their own without your assistance. A shape that might be a bird becomes a shape that might be a boat becomes a shape that is simply light, moving, warm. The sounds of the field have softened. The breeze is still there. You feel it on your face in long, slow intervals, cool and gentle, arriving and passing and arriving again with a steadiness that your breathing has begun to mirror without your asking. The flowers rustle. A lark, somewhere high above and far away, sends down a cascade of song so light and so bright that it seems less like a sound and more like a kind of scattered light, falling from a great height and landing everywhere at once and meaning nothing and everything simultaneously. You receive it with your whole body. The warmth of the sun moves across your face as a cloud passes between you and it. A brief softening, a gentle dimming, as though the morning itself is drawing a gauze curtain across the light out of consideration for you, out of a tender awareness that you are in the process of something delicate and don't need the full brightness of the world right now. Then the cloud passes and the warmth returns, and you turn your face very slightly toward it the way the flowers do, instinctively, gratefully, without thinking. The earth beneath you breathes. You feel it. Or you feel something that is like it, a slow, deep rhythm in the ground, so subtle it might be your own heartbeat reflected back to you, or it might be something older and larger than that, the pulse of the field itself, of the roots beneath the flowers and the water moving through the soil and the 10,000 small lives going about their 10,000 small necessities in the dark beneath where you are lying. All of it together, making something that feels, against your back, like a heartbeat. Like breathing. Like being held by something that doesn't need to be thanked. You are so comfortable. The word is too small for what you are, but it is the closest one. Comfortable. At ease. At home in your own skin in a way that is rare and worth noting, even now, even as the noting itself grows slow and soft and begins to dissolve at the edges. Your hands are open at your sides, palms upward. You don't remember turning them that way, but there they are, open, receiving the warmth of the sun with the same unreserved acceptance the flowers have always known, that you are only now remembering. The clouds drift. The breeze moves through. The lark has gone quiet, or you have gone quiet, and the silence that remains is not empty but full. Full of the low hum of the bee somewhere in the flowers, full of the gentle conversation of stem and wind, full of your own breathing which has grown so slow and so even that it no longer feels like something you are doing but something that is simply happening, something the morning is doing for you kindly while you rest. You are almost there. That country you have been traveling toward all morning, not walking toward, not hurrying toward, but drifting toward the way the clouds drift, the way the seeds of the dandelion drift, carried by something larger and gentler than intention. It is very close now. You can feel its quality in the heaviness of your limbs, in the warmth behind your eyes, in the way the field and the sky and the flowers and the breeze have begun to soften at their edges and run together like watercolors in the rain, becoming less distinct and more simply present, more simply here. The poppies nod in the breeze around you. A single petal, loosened from a flower somewhere nearby, drifts across your field of vision, vivid red against the blue, spinning very slowly, falling in a long unhurried spiral that takes so long you lose track of it before it lands, your attention following it down and then simply continuing down. The flowers are still there. The sky is still there. The warm earth, the slow breeze, the distant lark, the field that has held you without condition or effort, all of it is still there. Will be there. Is going nowhere. And you are going somewhere very near to nowhere. And it is exactly right. Breathe in. The flowers. The warmth. The wide, unhurried spring. Breathe out. And let the field keep watch. You are safe here. You are held here. You are here. Rest now.